Welcome to Show Studios Fashion Radio, the podcast and video series exploring the remarkable relationship between fashion and music. I'm your host, DJ Fat Tony, and today I'll be joined by London's very own menswear maverick, a certified subculturalist. Her work references rave, sportswear, skinheads, and cowboys, if that's not enough, and from Balenciaga to Nike. The collaboration with Kendrick Lamar on looks for this year's Big Steppers tour, the hometown hero has worked with the biggest names in fashion and music, and today I'm joined by the magnificent Martine Rose. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Fashion Radio. I'm DJ Fat Tony, and this is Show Studio, and today we are joined by the most incredible, I'm going to say it again, incredible woman, Martine Rose.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Oh, seriously, I was really excited when I was told that you were going to come on this.
I was very excited to be asked.
The Martine Rose aesthetics is defined by rave, hip-hop and punk subcultures. It's interesting, though, that those three choices of music, hip-hop, right?
Yeah.
Punk.
Yeah.
And what else? Do you like reggae as well, don't you?
I'm
Big reggae.
Yeah, I love reggae. Reggae was like always the constant. It's never, I didn't choose reggae. Reggae is just...
Yeah, it's been there. It's the crux,
it's
right?
It's the crux, yeah, exactly. And everything has sort of sparked off that. But that was always the reggae, lovers rock, all of that sort of versions of reggae has always been there.
So how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I just turned 43 last week.
Okay,
actually.
so Lovers, when you were growing up, would have been
80s,
really early 80s. My older brother was so into Lovers.
No way.
Yeah,
that was a very British Jamaican thing.
Yeah, Lovers rock was always played in our house.
Yeah.
Always. So my dad would be playing like his records downstairs, like Elvis and all that shit.
Yeah.
And Jim Reeves and Roy Orbison and all of those amazing masters of the time.
Absolutely.
And my brother would be playing Lovers rock in his room,
That's funny. Yeah.
And so that was always what we grew up in our house.
Exactly.
There was always music on in our house.
Exactly the same.
Exactly
the same.
And I kind of think it kind of sort of cements a direction for us to go in, because if we grow up around music, I know people that have never had music played in their houses.
So many people, it's surprising. They're like, oh, God, that's weird.
It's kind of like, I just don't understand a world without music. And it's like trying to understand fashion without music is a really big one.
Yeah. Well, you can't.
No, but I sometimes go to people's shows and I can sit there and I think, why on earth have they chosen this music?
Yeah.
Because the music should drive the show and the show should drive the music. They go hand in hand.
Absolutely,
they complement.
yeah.
But, to feel fashion and to if you go and watch a show, you're watching it and listening to music.
Yeah.
That's a totally different thing, because that's like you might as well be sitting on a bus looking out the window.
Yeah.
Because you're not really taking it in. If you go to a show and you feel the music and you feel the clothes and you feel the collection.
Because they're both emotion. Do you know what I mean? They're both expressions of emotion.
It's what the thought behind that collection. And when you're designing the collection, the thought process that goes into it, kind of like you have a track for that outfit.
Exactly.
You have already in the back of your mind, right?
Exactly.
So where did you start designing fashion?
When did I start designing? I didn't. Do you know what? I it wasn't like I grew up thinking I'm going to be a designer. It wasn't like that at all. I just was the youngest. I've got older brothers and sisters, so I just grew up watching them go out. My sister used to go to Abashanti, 12 Tribes, and all of that sort of stuff. My brother used to go to Lovers Rock. My cousins were into Acid House. So it was like this real thing, but it didn't. And I was obsessed with what they wore.
Yeah.
My sister wore Pam Hogg, Catherine Hamnett, Helen Story. All of that sort of John Gaultier.
But you just Helen Story, Pam Hogg, Catherine, all amazing, strong women designers that kind of have all in their own way been pushed to the side.
Yeah, I know, it's true.
Pam is like a master of what she does, but doesn't get applauded enough.
I know.
Because they go, oh, it's Pam Hogg, but she's identifiable as Pam Hogg, which in itself is incredible that you identify something as Pam Hogg.
Exactly.
But that when it comes to the support and the love that she deserves, she doesn't get it.
But that's so often the case. Sadly.
Catherine defined the 80s.
Yeah, she
Catherine Hamnett Totally, 100%. One of the first women that defined fashion to such an extent with her sloganism and activism. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's
amazing woman.
She put her head above the parapet before anyone else was doing it. And said, listen to what you're doing to this planet.
Yeah.
But another one that got pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Helen Story. Oh my God, what she did for leather jackets in the 80s.
I mean, honestly.
She's in the, it's really good. I went to the V&A and she was actually in the V&A.
Oh, thank God for that.
She's in the V&A.
Listen, you don't hear her name at all.
No, you don't.
And it's like, what? Yeah.
And I know her son Luke Story, who's a little rapper, and I've known him for years, and I hadn't linked the two. And then I said to him one day,
"You didn't know his mum was Helen Story?"
No, and I've known him for years,
That's
and he's such a nice boy. And I was like, "Your mum's not Helen, is it?" And he was, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's just so bizarre."
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I just didn't link the two. Musically, you said you've always had music within yourself, around you.
Music has always been this sort of like, sort of the starting point for everything, I think. Like, and I didn't know I wanted to be a designer. I was never sort of focused on that, but I was really I was fascinated with clothes and what people wore, how they put it together, and the nights that they would go to that was connected to that fashion. So I didn't know. Then I went to art school. Still didn't know I wanted to be a designer. Then at the end of art school, I was like, okay, maybe it's fashion. Maybe I'll do that. So I was always a bit ambivalent about fashion because fashion always felt like something else. I was only for someone else in another country. It just didn't feel. The designers that touched me were the designers who infiltrated culture. Moschino, Versace.
Yeah.
What I saw my cousins wearing, my brother and sister wearing Versace, Gautier, all of that sort of stuff. That's what resonated with me because that was clothing. Yeah. And that was style. It didn't feel...
You hit the nail on the head. It was a style.
It was style,
Especially with Gautier. Gautier, well, it was almost like a superpower at the time. And Versace, Gianni, all of that, they're superpowers. Yeah. To wear Versace or to wear Gautier.
It's like a key into
it really was.
Access into something.
Totally. It was,
you know what I mean? Boy London as well.
Yeah, a Boy London, blessed Boy London. Grew up with that. So at what point, on here, it's pretty impressive on paper,
Oh, God.
So you come from the Lulu, Fashion East, right?
Yes, yeah, always. She's always been a massive...
What an incredible woman she is, right?
Incredible woman, honestly. And not only that, she doesn't just provide something for like a really short period and then you're sort of off on your own. She is she has been consistently a champion supporter from the very beginning. And she doesn't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. She will, if she believes in something, that's it. She's behind you 100%. She's just been amazing.
It's like I sat next to her actually last year at the British Fashion Awards as well. Yeah. And then everyone was getting like celebrated and they'd done that film on her. And she was like, I don't like this fashion. Yeah. But it's like, what's so good about Lulu is just like, as you say, she don't give a fuck.
No, she doesn't give a shit.
What people think, but she cares enough to care about people.
The designers.
It's amazing.
Yeah. She really cares.
So many of the greats have come from that stable now. Amazing, right?
Everyone. She's incredible. So, yeah, Lulu was my number one champion.
And then to go on for Demna at Balenciaga. Yeah. I mean, come on, girl. Come on. For someone who didn't want to be into fashion, you're doing pretty well.
Oh, I don't know. Demna threw me a lifeline. He didn't even know. He didn't even realise that he threw me a lifetime. When he approached me, I was probably at the end, I'd just had a baby. I was getting evicted from my flat. I was getting rehoused because I was squatting basically then. I was teaching a little bit. I was doing bits and pieces, but I was basically in a really expensive hobby. Yeah. I had a baby and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Valentine was born in the February. I think it was in the June that I got a call from Demna. Well, I remember Mandy Leonard, we were on a panel once and she said to me, don't worry. I think she knew how shit it was. And she went, don't worry, darling, people are taking notice. And I remember that. So I just had enough. And I had like Lulu. Do you know what I mean? I just had enough to keep me going, but not enough really to make any money. That's
Mandy as well. That's Mandy for you.
She was just like these little like...
That's all you need.
Don't worry, darling, you carry on. And I was like, okay.
Right, let's move on to your first track, right?
Yeah.
track from your childhood that's influenced you
Yeah.
and your personal standards. When I read this last night, I was like, oh my God, I love her so much already. Look, my hairs are stood at the end already.
Aww.
Because it's, tell us what it is.
Frankie Knuckles' Tears is, there were so many songs I could have chosen for this. There were so many, but there is something about this particular track that is, it's pure soul to me. It's pure soul.
You feel it, right? As soon as you put that track on, the first few bars,
honestly,
you feel.
you're just, you can feel it. And so you can't not listen to that song.
It
You can't
draws
have
you
it
in.
on in the background.
It draws you in
It pulls you in. Yeah.
It just lifts you up. And this is the words when the circus when the curtain comes down and the circus
That's what
is
I mean.
through.
It's everything.
There's no one left but me, you, and all
my
these tears.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like,
I'm
a real good actor. This is a happening role. It's just, it's mind blowing.
You can't, that's what I mean. And there's very few songs. There's lots of songs that do it, but this is one that just, and you could play this to my mum, my dad, a woman on the street, and that you can't, you know what I mean? You can't ignore this song. You're in it.
It's magic.
You put it on, it's
magic. It's what
magic.
music is.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It has a meaning to everybody. It has a moment for everybody. Everyone remembers where they were the first time they heard it. Everyone has an attachment to it. And that's the sign of a really, really good track, you know that. And
it's beauty. It's absolutely
and it's also very timeless. It's
that's what I mean.
I drop it all the time.
And it
now.
always goes, I imagine it always goes mad.
Of
you know
course.
what I mean?
You know what it is? There's certain tracks that that towards the end of the night or when everyone's starting to flag a little bit or whatever, you just put it on and it's just going to take the room right back where it needed to be. Right, track 2. Track from the film that's really important to you.
So, this is a bit more like this sort of like backdrop that I spoke about, this like reggae backdrop, I guess, that was just sort of, I don't know, it was just there. It was sort of all encompassing. It was always there.
It's like air, right?
It's like
You're
air,
breathing it. Yeah, breathing reggae. Yeah,
exactly.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's there. So the soundtrack to Countryman, it was just around me. Do you know what I mean? And it was probably like an introduction into Lee Scratch Perry, Dennis Brown, you know what I mean? It's just so the soundtrack to that film is the soundtrack to my sort of essence or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm fortunate because of my age. I come from a time when you could see Lee Scratch Perry playing at the WAG Club. Oh my God!
Do you know what I mean? And all of the greats that used to be on a Thursday night.
That's lucky.
Yeah, it's very lucky. And
lucky.
At the time you didn't think it was so lucky because you're like, whatever. You know what I mean? But when you look back and then they're gone and you just think, oh my God, I'm so blessed to have actually been able to actually witness that.
I was going through my sister's old photographs the other day for a project I'm doing. I wanted to do it on my sister. And there's all these pictures of her and Dennis Brown. I remember Dennis Brown gave me orange juice in his... she sang out with all the reggae artists when they came over.
Major.
And Dennis Brown gave me a glass of orange juice and I sat in his corridor. I remember it was red. He had a red light. And... I was too young, but she was like really hanging out with him.
Major.
Do you know what I mean? It's
major,
you just don't... You take those bits for granted. You don't realise.
Because, when I was about 17, 18, and I was like clubbing every night and I was wearing Gaultier head to toe and I'd have bleach blonde hair, I used to always go to All Nations and I used to go to People's. And I used to end up, and there was one called 325s, which was on Euston Road, right opposite Capital Radio.
Yeah.
And it was this after-hour reggae club every night of the week and totally illegal on that main motorway by the flyout where you go under to go to King's Cross in Euston. It was there, right opposite the old Capital Radio building. And we used to go there and I'd go in there every night and I was the only white.
Yeah, I bet.
Gay, bleached blonde queen wearing Gaultier men's dresses. And you know what? I never once had any trouble.
This is
ever.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Ever. And we used to go and we used to dance all night.
Yeah. Just
and
enjoy
it would
the
be
vibe.
like, you know what I mean? I never once got called Batty Man or anything.
Yeah.
Because everyone was so accepting of
this is the misunderstanding about.
just a culture in
Jamaican
general.
culture.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's
honestly, I grew up in that, and I used to
that's so nice.
go to People's on a Friday
oh
night.
my God.
Yeah,
really?
you know that.
I know my sister.
Yeah, probably
Yeah, I'm
did.
sure you did.
You know, it's kind of like, because that's what music's about. It's,
Yeah.
you know, when you start labeling things and thinking, okay, I'm not into that,
Exactly.
the people that like that music, I wouldn't like me. It's rubbish.
Yeah, bullshit.
If you like the same music, you already got so much in common.
Yeah, exactly. That's enough.
My
Because
sexuality
that's it.
didn't
So
come into
relevant,
it.
Don't give a shit.
Totally,
Because that's the thing about
100%.
music, isn't it? It's like it's such a unifier. It's like
You know,
music, sport,
Fashion.
They're the things that bring people together regardless. They cross.
Totally. I mean, if I'd looked at me walking into now, like the way I was dressed in black tights, Dr. Martin steel toe cap boots, and a men's dress with bleach blonde fringe, I'd be
to a
like, oh
reggae
my
club.
God, check her out. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, madam.
You know what I mean? Literally, like the biggest queen you ever. I used to wear like yeah. Anyway,
Imagine.
but you know, it was beyond that, and that's what because we were there for the music.
Yeah,
So at home, if you're having a bad day, what? Because
So I put here that I'm falling into the Spotify algorithm, and it is, I guess, like my music taste is really eclectic. And Spotify's got this, obviously, you know Spotify really well. So it collects all your information from an algorithm and it puts it in little sort of albums for you. And, and so I really
so you just allow it.
I'm like, go on.
That's kind of a magic thing, because, you know, you're allowing someone else to take
make
that.
the choices.
But that's really, you know, when you came in and I read that, I was like, oh my God, she's so lazy.
No.
But you know what? There is actually a method to that madness, because, you know, when I go home and I say, hey, Siri, when I'm having a bad day, play, and I don't even need to say it, it says, no, playing George Michael.
And
it does all my favourite George Michael tracks, one by one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it never ceases to amaze me, because I'm like, oh my God, how did you know I wanted to hear that right now?
Yeah.
That track.
But I do. That's exactly what I want to listen to.
And it does it for you. So I get it.
Because
totally.
I will end up, but if I get too I will end up not doing work. And I've spent years DJing for interns, basically. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you heard this one.
Exactly.
Because I love introducing people to music as well. I love it. You know what I mean?
But that's what you do for a living. Introducing people to new images and the way they look and what they're going to wear.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a part of that listening, of handing over music.
It's really nice. Yeah, it's true. It's such a connection with people, you know.
It really is. I don't like people that don't pass on. Pass on music or pass on. Like it's like other DJs. You say to them, "What's this track?"
Oh, no, don't
worry.
Stuff,
so you won't know. So white label.
Dub plate.
I can Shazam it, you twat.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? We live in a world where I'm actually being decent and asking you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
as an opportunity for you to share it with me.
Because that's what music's about. It's like Instagram. It's like anything. It's about posting and sharing. Let someone else take it and repost it.
Exactly.
Because, you know, my Instagram account, people go, that's my meme. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. It's not the National Gallery. I robbed the Louvre. Do you know, I broke into the Louvre last night and stole your meme.
Your masterpiece.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's about resharing, and music's the same, and it's the same with fashion,
I agree.
right?
I agree. It's like, it's an exchange. I also find shows like that. I want shows to be, or for me, it's like that sharing an experience with someone. I really want people, more than anything, whether people like the collection or not is sort of irrelevant, whatever. I don't care. You like it, you don't like it, that's fine. But I at least want to give you an experience.
And do you want
know what I mean?
The backstory to every collection? Do you love people knowing that, well, the idea of what that show's about? Because some people don't ever experience that, so they don't tell you that. They go, okay, this show's called blah, blah, blah.
No,
and you're like, why?
That. Yeah, why? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you look at it and they're all dressed as Barbie.
And you're like,
and you think, hang on, I don't
get that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And it's like, what's the importance of that show?
Oh, see, I don't do, my references are as like my references for music. So I have this thing that always goes along the bottom, and then it's sort of all throughout the collection. So I don't have a theme.
Okay.
I never have a theme.
Because on my bits of paper, right,
Go on.
I'm going to get you, I'm going to floor you with this one.
Go on.
No, it's basically that, you know, your Spring and Summer 23 collection, right, which you showed in Vauxhall, was inspired by voyeurism and cruising, which I
that's
fucking
true.
love that.
That's true.
I come from an era where cruising is in my blood. That's who I am. It's what I've done. I just done a George Michael documentary, and most of it
when
was filmed.
He says that, doesn't he? He's just like, fuck off, when he was getting all that stick.
Yeah, of course.
Just like, fuck off, this is
totally,
my
and that's
culture.
what we talked about, you know. And I've got Fast Love on my hands for a reason.
Oh
And it's like, you know, that's who I am. I grew up cruising.
Yeah.
I've always cruised.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm in a loving relationship now, which came from cruising.
Yeah. There's things that I'm always interested in. Do you know, there's things that are just around. And I'm also nosy, but I'm always interested on the things that exist beyond mainstream culture. Do you know what I mean? So just on
like
the periphery, the
subculture.
edges, the edges, the people, and whether that can be personalities. I also like really extreme people. I like normal people too, but I like difficult people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I like this, like the fuzzy edges. That I'm always interested.
Because you know, for the whole cruising and voyeurism thing, it's like you know, people see it
sexy. It's
and
so,
but you know, people read into it in the wrong way. There's nothing more exciting than meeting someone in pitch black.
Yeah,
walking there, the adrenaline's pumping. You meet these people.
I'm also so nosy. So obviously, this is a culture that I can't participate
it's amazing,
in as well.
such
so I'm
an incredible culture.
What happened last night? I get my friends to tell me about it.
And it's been going on hundreds of years. You know, Moorfields Eye Hospital, Moorfields used to be cruising. And so basically, Finsbury Park. But that's more recent. But in the olden days, Moorfields, Moors, it was all Moors.
Way.
Yeah, was where the English gentry went, royalty went to cruise. And that's where the word highwaymen come from. So they used to go there and rob the gentry and blackmail them and say, okay, I saw you with this boy. And they used to set them up with these boys and then blackmail them. And that was where highwaymen came from, because they knew they were going to be there with money. So it all comes from that, you know, from our culture.
From your culture, that's what I mean.
Yeah, the whole area around Moorfields was one of the most notorious. And then, of course, we had Bloomsbury Square, and we had Russell Square, and we have Hampstead Heath, and we have all of these amazing places in every town.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone has a cruising area. I love the fact that you did a collection on that and that you're completely drawn in by it.
Yeah,
it's great.
I'm sure because I'm nosy as well. So I'm also fascinated with a culture that I can't participate.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, on what happened?
Instead of instead of being scared of it, it's ingenious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so interested.
Yeah, amazing.
Curious.
I love that. Right, track 4.
Oh God, what have I put?
What do you listen to? Oh, this is the lazy one.
This is the
so I
lazy
put,
bit.
what do you listen to when you're working? You put See Above? We don't do See Above at Show
we don't
Studio.
do See Above. All right. Well, what I mean is, and I think I was going to say it earlier, when I end up DJing for interns, I can't, because music is such a massive distraction for me. It's a massive distraction. And it's sort of always what I'd rather be doing over sort of anything. So I need something that is nice to listen to, that I can have, and like, you know, I mean, I can have a little tune and have a little bop, but that I'm not totally like
turning it into a nightclub.
Turning it into a nightclub, that's the problem. Sometimes though, I will do. In fact, I did it yesterday with exactly that song, because when I was doing the answers to this, I was like, Frankie, I was like, oh my God, let's put that on now. And I turned it right up, and everyone had to just stop what they were doing for that song, because sometimes when you turn a song up, it clears the energy as well.
Of course,
do you know what I mean? Sometimes you can control the energy in the studio if everyone's doing the same menial shit, like cutting up patterns for a long time, and then you just
turn it off. It elevates everything, and you know what? It's like switching on a fucking diffuser.
Yeah, exactly.
It diffuses everything, and everyone's filled with joy, and they can smell it, happiness, and and then everyone's happy for the rest of the afternoon.
It's like a little sage stick going around,
really
clearing the energy, and then you can go back.
So I'm going to throw you on it. So what do you listen to when you're working? You can't say See Above. There was one track that you would want on all day.
Oh God!
What would it be at work?
Do you know what there is? There is a Trevor Jackson song actually.
Yeah.
And it's called Scars. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't. But I'm going
to send it to you after.
Please, this is what's brilliant about this, because every day I'm learning new tracks.
Yeah.
And being a music know-it-all, like I think I am.
Yeah.
the amount of new artists I've
stuff.
discovered in the last 2 weeks, even one of them from Nick Knight, and I was like, what?
Oh, all right.
Who the hell's this?
Yeah, no.
And then I've gone home and Googled them and thought, oh my God.
I should know about them. They're
Yeah,
amazing.
do you know what I'm saying? It's good. So, okay, if you could send me that would be great.
I will send you that.
And what's the track?
It's called Scars. It's a really long track. It must be about 8 minutes or 9 minutes. And the reason I like it, it's enough to keep that you can sort of like keep doing stuff, but it's
a shoulder mover.
It's a thing, yeah. It's like a little thing. It's like a rumbling.
Yeah, I get it. So
you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's like it's a traveller.
So
you're like sitting there, getting the motion. There's motion in it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what gets your creative juices flowing? What kind of music would like if you were like at home, you were like stumped, and you thought, I need to really clear my mind. I really need to like get my creativity going. You've always said that you love use music as a diffuser. And
do you know what? Sometimes actually, so I have go-tos. Right?
Yeah, that's what I
have go-tos, and the go-to. But I have things that I'm comfortable, like I just said, like there's there's reggae, or there's blah blah, and that's things that are just bubbling over all the time, and I'm I love it. Something that I need to get the creativity is something that is jarring. The Fool does it. If I listen to The Fool,
yeah, there you go.
Like Marky Smith,
amazing.
Because it's just jarring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's amazing. There's one track that there's so many tracks that I like, but there's a track that he does, and it's called Hip Priest, and that dun 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 dun, and it's sort of slurry is just it's just so it's just genius. It's genius, and that because it's like you need something to throw you a little bit and sort of pay attention, wake you up. And Marky Smith can do that for me, definitely.
You're the first person that's mentioned The Fool on here, and I'm really glad you have.
Yeah,
because
it's
they're amazing.
They're amazing.
Yeah, totally
Amazing.
Another one that doesn't get mentioned enough. Do you know what I mean?
At all.
Culturally, what they've done, like
at all, because he's a complicated person. You know what I mean? People didn't understand, like we were saying, like.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Oh,
there's the fear.
Yeah.
We don't know.
He's a nutcase.
He's
annoying.
Oh, he's a nutcase. I can't deal with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, how
don't
depressing.
Know where he's going to be today.
How depressing. Do you know what I mean? No. I'm really glad you brought that to the table.
Yeah.
See, I knew there would be one in there. Your laziness, I guess, here above. Okay. What song best represents the sound of your studio of Martin Rose?
I like a bit of yacht rock.
I've never heard of it.
It's like sort of Blue-Eyed Soul, Ned Doheny.
Yeah.
A bit. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit. It's Beach Boys. I don't know. It's easy.
I wonder why it's called yacht rock. Is it because you listen to it being on a yacht?
Yeah, exactly. I think people find it a bit cheesy.
Laying around in the sun.
I fucking love it. I love a bit of yacht.
Well, you know what it is? It's happiness, right? It's anything that you listen to in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And you're lying around, or you're sitting by a pool, or you're dancing around. It just sums up happiness, that warmth.
Exactly.
It's warm music, right?
It's warm.
And there's something really warm about it.
It's sort of soul-y. It's easy. It's like... Yeah, I mean, I think my interns are like sometimes like, fucking hell, this is a bit more. I'm like,
yeah, but I bet they're not, actually. I bet they go home and listen to it too.
Do you reckon? I'm sure they got the Shazam.
Oh, of course they have. Do you get what I'm saying? If they haven't, then you need to get rid of them.
Exactly. You should be Shazam in this, by the way. I hope you're Shazam in this.
Wait till when we actually have to do a review with you.
No, exactly.
You didn't Shazam once this season, so we're going to have to let you go.
I'm sorry. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. You didn't ask me about the Doobie Brothers once, so I'm sorry.
It's
The door's over there. Right, this is a good one. Most important song you've ever heard at a Catwalk show?
I mean, this is really vain because it's my own.
No, it's not vain, because that just shows you how much you respect yourself. What is the track?
It's King Tubby meets Rockers Uptown, and I played that for my finale last season, and I played it so loud, and I was like this, and we were in the Arch in Vauxhall, and I wanted people to be swallowed by the sound. And also, no one hears reggae in fashion.
No, they don't.
And you're like, actually, you fucking need to. because
they never say they kind of hear reggae and fashion is when they go carnival.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they listen, no.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't love me.
Exactly.
And, oh my God, the West London anthem.
No, exactly.
But, you know, that's kind of the level
That's the sort of level. That's as far as we go in terms of reggae, which I've played Janet Kay for a finale as well before, and that was obviously went off. But yeah, King Tubby meets Rockers.
Oh, I mean, come on. Silly Games, Janet Kay.
I mean, it's genius.
Timeless. Another timeless track.
Another genius, timeless, happy, important, all of that.
Moving on, best music video in terms of fashion.
This one, I mean, I could have picked loads of things, but and it was just, I guess it was just a sort of fun, quick one that I could think of. But Shaka Demus and Pliers Murder, She Wrote, because it's just all those early danceful looks.
Yeah.
They're just
genius, right?
Just genius.
Yeah.
Everything, the from their hair to the jewelry to the moves to the dance, it's just brilliant. Him and his sequined,
it's so
like the campus thing.
Cool.
It's just so great.
It's so cool. But what makes me laugh is
and it's not about that's the thing. It's not fashion. It's style. That's the thing. Because you could do like, I don't know, Beyonce. What was that one that she did where she was wearing all these different like fashion looks, but it was so. There was nothing authentic about
it's contrived.
it. It was so contrived.
And with using real people from that dancehall scene and all of that stuff in their looks.
Yeah.
Because they are looks. They are proud of those looks. It's not my fashion. This is the way I look.
This is who I am.
This is how I want you to see me. And this is what I'm representing today.
Exactly.
There's a difference.
Yeah, there's such a big difference.
I could go into Selfridges today or any other store,
buy any look off the
buy any old look
and
try and rock it and probably feel about 40% good in it.
Cool,
you know what I mean, because it's not my look.
No,
whereas
and it looks like it's wearing you basically.
Thank you. And you just look like you just went and bought it.
Yeah.
That's not style, that's fashion.
Style. Exactly.
And there's a real difference. And those asymmetrical bobs, those big gold earrings, those sequences, all of that stuff.
The cutouts, the sexiness.
That makes you double look. You double look. You're like, oh my God, what is she wearing? It's incredible.
What is she wearing?
The nails.
It's so fabulous.
Just everything. Do you go what I mean?
All of it. And it's so considered, but so easy. It's so authentic. Who cares about fashion, really?
Exactly right.
Honestly,
no, I agree with you. I get moments where I just think, fuck fashion, fuck these idiots. Do you get what I mean? It's sometimes it could be such a circus, and it's just like it's not worth it.
Circus. Yeah, and it's.
I can juggle better than all those clowns. Do you know what I mean? I can walk a tightrope better than all of them with my eyes closed.
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? I'm better on the trapeze than all that lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It can be so two-dimensional sometimes.
Okay, a song from a musician that you would wish to love to work with. They can be alive or dead. And you put one of the all-time kings. Kings.
I mean, I'm sure you've had Prince fucking 100
You know what? We haven't.
No!
You are the first person that's brought Prince to the table.
What?
And you know what it is? It's yet again another generational thing. It really is. The Gen Z lot have not mentioned Prince once. And you know what?
Fuck? That is disappointing.
Well, what's more disappointing is the fact that they're walking around dressed like Prince, but they don't know who Prince is.
References.
Do you understand? And it's kind of just like, hang on, Prince was wearing flared trousers
and fucking high heels
and lycra, and Hunza
and crop tops, and he was the first. Honestly, my sexual awakening was Prince.
You know what? It was a straight man, and you're all going on about Harry Styles breaking gender. Yeah. Oh my God, Harry Styles is really breaking down genderism. No. Let's go back to Prince. Let's go back to the Isley Brothers. Let's go way back to the 70s. Listen, it's there.
James,
and it's always, dare I say it, black men.
I know.
Always that have broken those barriers. And that's why they're not accepted today. That's why if Harry's coming on, it's great that Harry's doing what he's doing and the stylists are styling him in such a way.
Absolutely.
It's brilliant because it brings it to the table. But what isn't brilliant is the fact that all of these late greats are forgotten.
Just completely forgotten.
Do you know what I mean? Prince was just a master of bringing fashion and music together.
Yeah, and making it this, and it was authentic again.
Totally,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
Have you seen his first, I'm sure you have, his first performance? He's 19 and he's singing.
I've seen it.
and he's wearing gold
hoops.
earrings, a flared, a ruffled shirt, and I think it's a crop top. I mean, it's
open to the waist. It's stunning.
Sexy.
Yeah.
I literally... Yeah,
I'm very blessed that I worked with him.
No way!
Yeah, I worked with Prince. I did about 11 parties with him.
So
every time Prince came to London, I would DJ at his after party. So he would do these concerts, and Kat was one of my best friends. I introduced Kat to her boyfriend. So me and Kat, it's like there's lots of Prince.
Tony, that is mad.
But I did all of Prince's like post parties from his gigs. So what he would do is he'd have these gigs like Wembley Arena with like driving on in Cadillacs and everything else,
and then these little ones.
And he'd do these little parties afterwards for 100 people.
Yeah.
Only 100 people ever. And he would invite 100 people and he would go on stage and he would play every instrument. It used to piss me off because I'd be standing to wait to DJ and I'd have to wait for him to finish. And I'd be like, oh, come on, man. And you know how that came about?
Well, how?
I was DJing one night at Brown's for a party. There was no one there, right? No one. I was DJing and there was about 3 people sitting in a booth.
Not paying
and
attention.
I was like, thinking, what am I doing?
Myself, yeah.
In walked a bouncer with Prince. And they sat down on the table in front of me, and I carried.
Straight away?
Yeah, of course, it was Prince. And I carried on playing, doing what I was doing, and the bouncer came over and put 100 quid in my hand and said, "Prince said, will you play Thingy?" And I was like, okay,
yeah,
I said, but I don't have it, so I
it.
can't play it, sorry. Give him his money back. And he said, no, you keep the money. Then Prince came over and said, you don't have that? And I was like, not with me, no, but I tell you what I do have. And I went through this whole list of stuff that I did have. And that was it. From that moment on, I did every Prince party.
What a good story.
Every Prince party in town, yeah. So many. And, you know, he was always so...
He was just a curious person, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just so... And he used to look... I'd say things and he wouldn't respond. I'd make these really coarse jokes, as I always did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Tonyisms. And he would look at me, stare at me and like go... like that. And I'd be like, oh,
what,
shit. And then he'd go... Say that again. Yeah. And I had to say it again. And he was like going, get out of here. But he would think about what I'd said, he'd process it. And I used to think, if I said the wrong thing, oh my God, I just fucked Prince off.
Oh my God.
Do you get what I mean? And it was literally one night he came up to me and was like, I saw you yawning when I was playing. I was like, you went on for like 20 minutes. I was waiting to go on. He went, I like your style. I was like, oh, like, you know, yeah. So, I mean, so seeing Prince on your list, Lo, but that 17 days a cappella.
17 days a cappella. This is the thing. People know Prince. Everyone knows Prince.
Purple Rain.
Everyone knows. You know what I mean? Red
Corvette.
Red Corvette and all that.
Raspberry Beret. All of them were incredible.
But not many people know 17 days a cappella, and that is
it's stunning.
It's stunning.
That's what's so incredible about Prince and Frankie and all of these great people that we talked about today.
They pull you in and they keep you there.
They do.
They literally yank you in. They don't even pull you in.
And they're
yank you in.
They're there where they are for a reason, right? They're always going to be there. And it's just a shame that some of them died before their full potential. You know, but maybe that was their potential.
Maybe that is it. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe.
You know, who's to say someone died too soon?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm loving this today. Thank you so much. Okay, right. Whew, after that Prince bombshell. Okay, 10, a track that represents how you feel about life now.
Aww. Well, Tina Marie. Tina Marie is...
Another one.
Tina Marie is another one. And she's a badass. No, I mean, she was another one in my family. She was like consistently played. Everyone thought she was black.
Yeah.
Until I thought she was black. Everyone in my family.
Until 12-inch singles came out.
Exactly. And then you're like,
picture covers. Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't know she was like,
she's white. And then like, I remember my cousins going off to see her in concert every time she performed. And it was just, I mean, what can you say about Tina Marie? The joy, the humor, the playfulness. Do you know what I mean? The sexiness. I put I Need Your Lovin' because it's just such a belter and you're just like, you know, you can really sing it. But square beers, Portuguese I love. You know what I mean?
Portuguese
The
love.
Portuguese I love. It's like
on a cold and winter's night and
it's so complex. You know what I mean? Her like
the
arranging and the stories.
It's stories and it's magic making.
And she changed pace.
And
That's what it's playing.
and she was a style icon. When everyone suddenly started seeing what she was about,
Yeah, she was
they'd
so
heard her for
sexy.
so long and fell in love with her. And suddenly this bad-ass bitch came out who was white.
What a badass.
And
Going
the
out with Rick James.
Like, come on, and the outfits,
Yeah.
like real,
I know.
such genius
I
style.
know. Amazing stuff. That's what I mean. So she does it. How does it represent how I feel about life? I don't know. It's just there's an exuberance about it and a playfulness, and that's sort of how I feel about everything at the minute. I
Are
think.
you got to a point where you're really happy and content in the sense of you're all right with who you are today?
Do you know what? I've always been all right with who I am.
Yeah,
I've
that's
never
amazing.
felt at odds with myself.
Yeah.
And I've never paid attention to what other people think. I always want to be a nice person.
Yeah,
Like
that's all that
I
matters.
care if I hope you like me. Do you see what I mean? Like if I'm
that's
connected
where
to
it
someone
starts.
who's watching me, I don't care what anyone else
Yeah.
thinks. And I'm not a planner either. Someone said to me the other day, actually my best friend Mira said to me, because I was just like, it was about something about the stress and like blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm just not stressed. And she was just like, she said, you know why you're not stressed? She said, you're never stressed. And that's because you don't think about tomorrow. And it's true. I don't. I think that is my coping mechanism. I don't think about tomorrow.
Do you ever
really.
have game plans?
No.
Nor do
never.
I.
Never.
You know what? I
Never.
never. Do you know when you started this earlier on, and you said at the beginning of this, like I was going to say interview, or it is an interview, but at the beginning of this podcast, and you said that you never set out to be a fashion designer.
No.
I never set out to be a DJ.
No.
It was something
It's all
that happened
unfolded,
organically.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, my love for music drove me to that place,
exactly.
and people saw that I
Exactly.
loved music, so that was offered to me. And,
Yeah. That's
you know,
exactly.
so that's why I always struggled for the majority of my career with that. I'm not
Playing
good enough.
the game.
And
You're not good
and
enough. Yeah,
imposter
I do feel
syndrome.
like an imposter.
Yeah, always. right?
I am always
That's a
waiting for
big
someone
one.
to go, excuse me, I don't know how you've got
You're at the wrong end of the
Yeah.
plane. I'll be sitting in flying somewhere that's been paid for, and I'm at the front of the plane instead of down the back by the bogs like I used to be.
Totally.
And I'd be like thinking
Yeah.
that someone's going to come and say, sorry, you're in the wrong seat.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, I definitely do have. I definitely
Always.
have that.
But you know what?
Yeah.
That comes from creativity. That comes from
Because you're exposing yourself
Totally.
all the time.
Totally.
You know
and
what
you
I
know
mean?
what? I went through life wanting to be liked, and
Yeah.
now I'm loved. There's
Yeah,
a real
that's
difference.
amazing.
That's because I love myself now.
That's amazing.
And you know, and I want to always ask this question at the end, is just about that, where you're at in the sense of, because we say, you know, what's next for Martine Rose? Now
don't
you've done the
know.
cruising. She's going to go in for the bruising.
I'm going to go for the bruising. I mean, like I said, I'm not. I don't plan. I'm not a strategic person at all. I'm not. It's always. It is really always what feels good. I'm very focused on my now. Like now, I'm not thinking about anything else apart from us.
Yeah.
Here and this conversation we're having. I'm not elsewhere.
The phone's not in the hand. You're
The
not all
phone's
up in.
not-
Yeah,
no, I'm not elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so, and people always ask me, what's next? And I'm like, I don't. I really
happen
mean
when
it.
it
I don't
comes
know.
along,
I'll
right?
know when it happens. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in, and
loved
thank you for
it.
letting me into your world. 'cause
I've loved it.
It's opened
Thank
up doors
you.
for me today. Like that, I'm now suddenly a Martine Rose fan. There you go. Like seriously, thank you. Long may you reign. It's amazing. Thank you so
darling.
much.
It's an honour for me.
Thank you, gorgeous.
Oh.